Hi guys and welcome back to the channel Held Dominance. Anthony here. Please remember to like and subscribe and also click that notification bell if you're enjoying what you're seeing and if you want to see more. Coming up in today's episode, we have a look into the Betfred Championship as the opening weekend kicks off. It's also round 2 of the Betfred Challenge Cup, so let's see how they got on. Plus Great Britain Rugby League loses a legend. So let's begin with the episode, and we'll begin with the Betfred Challenge Cup as we are going to look into the round 2 games that were played on Saturday and on Sunday. Well, here we go with Saturday. With progression into round 3 going firstly to York Acorn with their 28 points to 10 win against the London-based West Warriors. Jordan Porter scored 2 tries and so did Stuart Garrington for York Acorn, as well as following up with single tries from Ash Robinson and Jack Peter Swainsbury. Ian Chilton scored a couple of conversions for York as well. West's Warriors, unfortunately we don't have any information about the try scorers. In the Sportsman shown game live on YouTube, the British Army and Royal Navy went to golden point extra time after the tie was, after 80 minutes, scored at 10-10. Tries from Kaji Sugivanu and Kev Brown gave a 8-point lead to the British Army at half-time. Then Mickey Hoyle converted a penalty to push the lead out to 10-0. But raw back did the Navy, with Gavin Duffy and Jonathan Griffiths both scoring, as well as a conversion from Rhys Joel. It was in the 5th minute of golden point extra time when James Tilley got himself over the try line for Royal Navy for them to win 14 points to 10 and book their place in the 3rd round. Unfortunately, we don't have any names of the try or goal scorers for West Hull against Rochdale Mayfield. All that we do know is that Rochdale Mayfield raced to an 18 points to 0 half-time lead, and West Hull did their best to come back, but unfortunately missed the conversion with the final kick of the game to give Rochdale a path to round 3. Hunslet Club Parkside beat Stanningley 22 points to 12 in a local derby, with tries coming from Jamie Fields, Kieran Webster, Connor Squires and Richie Westwood for Parkside, and Stanningley had 2 tries from Josh Adams and Logan Pitts. Those 2 tries were converted by Tom Flannery. In the first of the Community Club versus League One side games, we have Lee Miners Rangers facing North Wales Crusaders. I'll come to Pilkington Rex and Siddle in a moment. 2 tries from Thomason was what the Lee Miners Rangers did. And there were tries for the North Wales Crusaders from Sharrett, Holmes, Gibson, Patrick Van An, Rodden as well. 2 tries apiece for Gibson and Arvan, as well as 6 out of 7 conversion successful attempts from Patrick Arvan for the North Wales Crusaders. Pilkington Rex versus Siddle was a one-sided affair for the Halifax-based side, winning 32 points to 10. Pilks got 2 tries from Jordan Morris and Tom Connick, when Kieran Napper converted the Connick try. But tries for the Siddle players, Jamie Kelly, Freddie Walker, Richard Pogson, Keenan Ramsdale, Lewis Hosty and Dom O'Keefe set Siddle onto the 3rd round. There was 4 kicks from 6 for Richard Pogson as well. The London Scholars faced a local side in a 40 points to 22 victory for the Scholars. Unfortunately, again, we don't have the try scorers, but it was 18 points to 0 for the Scholars in the first half, and it came roaring back with a 40 points to 22 scoreline, finishing off the game. So the second half was a tied event and a spirited show for the South London Community Chargers. Some good efforts there by teams, but no real shocks in the Saturday games. But we go on to Sundays now. And we have a shock. Let's go ahead and show you what happened in Sunday's games. So the first game of the day was on the BBC Red Button, and it's your Rochdale Hornets face the Midland Hurricanes in what was a little bit of a tempestuous type of game. Rochdale Hornets came out 36 points to 16 victors, but they had Folding yellow carded on the 37th minute and Torreira red carded on the 58th minute, both because of high tackles. But that wasn't enough to cause any issues, as we see Sheridan, Calland, McNeely, Green, Tyra, Nixon, Ashton all go over for a try apiece for Rochdale when Sheridan kicked over 4. Newbound, Freeman and Hardcastle all scored for Midland Hurricanes, and Hardcastle kicked a couple of goals as well. Doncaster overcame their National Conference opponents, Thornhill Trojans, 24 points to 6. It was 12-0 at half time to Doncaster, and Doncaster had a little bit of ill discipline with 2 yellow cards, with Travis Carrion getting a yellow card for a high tackle on the 65th minute, and Zach Braham as well on the 79th minute. But Thornhill weren't ones that weren't misbehaving either, as Sam Ratcliffe was red carded for the high tackle involving in the 79th minute. So, the tries: Ben Johnson, Missy Tuolapapa, Aaron York and Greg Burns all went over for Doncaster, and Doncaster converted 4 out of 4, but with Robinson. Harry Woolard scored the Trojans' try late in the game, with Joel Gibson scoring the conversion. And it ended 24 points to 6. Hunslet beat Keighley Cougars in the second League One tie of the day with a 22 points to 6 victory, as it was 6-6 at half time. Hartley, Mossop and Whiteley scored 2 tries, with Syme converting for Hunslet. But there was also 2 penalties for Hunslet as well, with Syme put both of them over. Modoti scored the only try for Keighley, and Miller kicked the extras. Now, what was the rout of the day, to be honest? It was Swinton Lions going to the West Wales Raiders. It was all one way, as Swinton Lions scored more than a point a minute in a 96 points to 0 drumming. Half-time score was 56 points to 0. So a point a minute in the second half, more than a point a minute in the first. So just to give you the highlights: Lapori, Abram. Lapori scored 3 and Abram scored 2. So did Hansen, and so did Butt, scored 2 apiece, with other tries from Hope, Roberts, Waterworth, Lloyd, Charnock, Meadows and Hayes. Abram kicked 12 goals and Meadows kicked a 13th. And now the shock of the round, where Lock Lane travelled to Oldham to face the Roughheads in what was a weird game. The match was blighted through floodlight failures. There were 3, 1 before the game, 1 in the first half and 1 in the second half. But that didn't deter the Lock Lane boys, as they went in at half-time 10-0 up, with Fozzard scoring and Lewis Price just before half-time. A quick-fire double. The Price try off a fantastic inside ball by Fozzard as well. Fozzard made 1 kick in the first half, but then the second half, with the wind and the rain descending, it was pressure upon pressure by Oldham. But every time that Oldham got towards their own line in defence, it seemed like Lock Lane had effort and the fortitude to get over the line, with Daniel Holmes and Chris Simmons scoring in the second half. Bozard kicking 2 from 2 in some good right-footed kicking from the left-hand side. Maraka and David Hewitt scored Oldham's tries in the second half, and Rijad converted 2 from 2 to book Lock Lane into a third round tie. And we know who's in the third round now. So there are the 6 teams that go into the draw for the third round. There are only 6 ties in the third round, so we know who's entering. And it's Rochdale, Doncaster, Hunslet, Swinton Lions, North Wales Crusaders, London Scholars, Lock Lane, York Acorn, the Royal Navy, Hunslet Parkside, Rochdale Mayfield, and Siddle, who all deserve their place in the third round. Game of the day? Definitely Oldham versus Lock Lane. Go on our league app and see the wonder of rugby league on a Sunday night in one of the coldest places in the northwest. It's a fun game, and these are the struggles that they have to play in late January. Good luck to all the teams in the third round, and hopefully there's some plum ties coming. As the Betfred Championship kicks off this weekend, we have the first round fixtures all complete on Sunday the 30th of January 2022, and here is a quick summary for all those games. The Batley Bulldogs came from 6 points to 16 deficit against the Halifax Panthers to win 30 points to 18 at home, with Campbell, Hooley, Whiteley, Ward and Leake scoring tries for the Bulldogs. Gilmore kicked 5 conversions. Halifax had Tangana, Moore and Arundel scoring the tries in the first half, and Keys kicking 2 kicks for the lead. There was only a penalty by Keys early in the second half that pushed the 8-point scoring to 18 points at that time, but Batley fought back bravely and overcome their Yorkshire rivals. Next we have Barrow Raiders, who beat the Sheffield Eagles 22 points to 10, with only 4 points coming in the second half. Tries for Gillam, Ritson and Meludi all put Barrow on the way to victory, with Shaw kicking 5 goals, 3 of which were penalties. For Sheffield, we have Jones, Bishop and Thackeray to thank for their try-scoring efforts, and Farrell kicking the only conversion, with all of Sheffield's points coming in the first half. Dewsbury Rams played host to the Bradford Bulls, but it was a one-sided affair in this opening championship game for both sides, as Bradford went out 46 points to 16 victors, while Dewsbury had tries from Peltier, Jimmy Beckett and Lewis Carr to thank for their 16 points, as well as Berrall kicking 2 from 3. The Bradford Bulls had thanks to Deck Patton's kicking, as well as Gill's 2 tries, Dawson Jones's 2 tries, Boggin Johnson, Patton himself getting on the try scoring side, Keir, AJ Wallace all going over for single tries as well. It was a one-sided affair for most of the game, with odd interruptions from Dewsbury Rams. Leeds Centurions put Whitehaven to the sword, with MacDonald scoring a hat-trick, followed up by 2 tries from Nesbitt, and a try apiece from Dixon, Aiken, Brand and Ione, while Ben Reynolds kicked 7 goals. Evans was the only try scorer for Whitehaven in Lee's comprehensive victory of 50 points to 4. In what was some sort of homecoming, as Wimbledon's home ground of Plough Lane was the new home ground for the London Broncos. It was Widnes Vikings who took the spoils in this great game with 34 points to 12 victory, all lined up. While Ferreira, Parata, and Juma all scored for the London Broncos, it was Davis, Edge, and Roby that scored a try apiece, but it was Ince that went over for 4 tries. That gave the Widnes Vikings the win overall. Edge also converted 3 of the tries. Workington were in the lead at half-time, 6 points to 4 against Barnes and Forber, scoring for Workington against Newcastle Thunder. But Newcastle Thunder came back with a one-sided affair, going 20 points to 6 in the second half. Tries from Johnson, Wild, Gallagher and Foster, plus 2 kicks from Sharrett, gave the Thunder a victory. As one of my favourites for promotion to the Super League gives a good account of themselves. There is still one game to be played in the Championship, and that's a live game on Premier Sports, where York City Knights play host to the Featherstone Rovers. But things are going to form already, I would suspect, as you would see a lot more of the same type of victories as the season progressed. Don't know who's going to win between Featherstone and York, because they're 2 of my favourites. I've got 4. Lee, because they spent all that money. Newcastle, Featherstone and York. And the winner of the York versus Featherstone game could be the ones that set the pace in the Championship. Let's see how it gets on. So we end today with the news that has broke over the last couple of days, that tributes have been pouring in for former Great Britain winger Des Drummond, who died at the age of 63. Drummond, who was played for the Great Britain side 24 times, was described as a player whose brilliance, athleticism and personality transcends the sport. He was a legend at both Lee and Warrington, winning the league title with Lee in 1982. In a statement written on Lee Centurion's website by Chairman Mike Latham, it said, "On this Sunday evening, we are struggling to come to with the terms of the devastating news we have just heard. On behalf of Derek and all of us at the club, I have written this tribute predominantly from a personal point of view, as I was fortunate enough to see the whole of Des's career, but also know him well. I know that many tributes will follow from former teammates, opponents, friends, and everyone who knew him. On this saddest of occasions, just wished to portray as well as I could just what Des meant to us all. Des Drummond will never be forgotten. Tomorrow's home game against Whitehaven will be especially poignant as an occasion, and we will all be remembering Des Drummond and playing in tribute to him. May he rest in peace." Lee Centurions are devastated to learn of the passing of Des Drummond at the age of 63 and pass on our sincerest condolences to his family and friends at this incredibly sad time. Drummond played for Lee since 1976 until 1986, where he got his most of his international caps, his last being against France in 1988. He signed for Lee almost accidentally, having travelled to watch his older brother Alva Drummond play for the reserve team. Lee found themselves a player short due to injury, and he was persuaded to play. He made such an impact that they offered him a professional contract within the week. He quickly became a star player at the Lancashire club, particularly after a series of televised appearances during a run of Lee's 4-12 defeat by Castleford in the 1976 BBC Two Floodlit Trophy final at Hilton Park. And the arrival of Alex Murphy as a coach in 1980 marked an upturn in the club's fortunes. Drummond was playing right wing in Lee's victory over Widnes in the 1981 Lancashire Cup final at Central Park, Wigan. And then, as the weather-disrupted season reached its end, Lee needed only to defeat an already relegated Whitehaven to win their first league title since 1907. He finished that season with 26 tries as the top scorer in the championship, and within 3 years, Lee found themselves in the familiar relegation battle, which severely hampered when he badly broke an ankle away against Barrow. Although recovered to return to the Great Britain team, he lost little of his devastating speed, and even recovered enough to score the BBC TV's try of the season, after losing semi-finalists for against Leeds in the 1985 John Players Special Trophy semi-final. He left to join Warrington in 1987. He scored 141 tries in his 280 appearances for Lee. In his first season at Warrington, he scored the try of the season for Warrington. He also was the club's top try scorer for that season. But he was left out of the Great Britain Lions Tour of Australasia in 1988 after defending himself from a spectator who rushed onto the pitch shouting racial abuse. He again scored Warrington's try of the season in the 88-89 season against Hull Kingston Rovers, and he played right wing in the 1987 Lancashire Cup final defeat by Wigan. He played in the victory of the 1989 Lancashire Cup final, and unfortunately was on the losing side on the 1990 Cup final against Wigan at Wembley. Plus, he was captain in the 12 points to 2 victory over Bradford Northern in the 1990-91 Regal Trophy final victory at Headingley Stadium. He played his last game for Warrington, and he finished his 182 game career with 69 tries on April the 26th, 1992. Drummond picked up mainstream infamy as well, as he competed in the celebrity status competition called Superstars, which was a televised all-sports competition, and finished second in the 1983 series final, and clocking a world competition record of 10.85 for the 100 metres. Noting that Great Britain Rugby League speedster Martin O'Fire was reported to have recorded the record of 10.8 seconds for the 100, just shows how fast Drummond was. In that context, he would have qualified for the Great Britain Olympic team, Des Drummond, in 1984's Olympics in Tokyo with his sparkling time. An exceptional powerlifter and an all-round athlete, Drummond's party trick in the competition came in an assault course competition, which began with 3 hurdles, a vaulting horse, and an 8-foot wall. Drummond took the hurdles in his stride, hurdling the vault horse, and would leap to the top of the wall without using a scramble rope. He competed in the international event but was hampered by a change in the scoring. Whereas in the UK, points were awarded in the lifting events for performance against bodyweight, the international competition spoils were divided for the dead weight lifted, which disadvantaged a man at 5'7" and 12 stone. After finally retiring from the professional game, Drummond took up an amateur role as a coach to the Bolton Rugby League club. Drummond was born on June the 17th, 1958 at Savannah Lamar, Westmoreland in Jamaica, and is of English and Jamaican descent. But is also remembered across the world as well at Western suburbs, where in 1986 He played 9 games for the Suburbs and scored 2 tries.